AD, have you ever interacted with a man who was in Iraq who could have been the recipient of information not getting through when you took the spy base down? Because when you took the spy base down, that was intercepting information for Iraq. This man was in Iraq fighting. Theoretically, some of the information that could have got to them may not have got to them. Have you ever met someone in that position before? And if you haven't, I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, how does that resonate with you?
It's a challenging one. So what you're saying to me is, did I factor in the fact that our actions may cause harm by accident to Paul?
Well, yeah. I guess if you're talking about the greater good, which was part of the defence in your case, your greater good might have cost Paul his life. And I guess I can't speak on Paul's behalf, but their greater good of being in Iraq might have cost an Iraqi person their life. What's the difference?
Well, I think that you've got a situation where we've got all these swords, and the world is swimming with these swords, and if we can just hammer them into agricultural equipment, one sword at a time, the world is going to be a better place. And I think that was what we were doing.
So it sounds like it was maybe more of a protest, as opposed to actually the action it did. Because obviously taking the spy base down wasn't going to create any. Paul told me yesterday. What rifle were you carrying?
An SA-80.
An SA-80. No, SA-80s became ploughs after your action.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was part of a wider movement around the world. I mean, today there are two elderly women in the United States, religious women who are in jail. One's just died in jail for pouring their own blood on the nose cones of MX missiles. And so around the world, people are doing these sorts of things to prophesy and to enact the prophecy of Isaiah that one day we won't need this machinery, and that day has come. I think Glenn mentioned that the day hadn't come, and that's a challenging thought. But I think the day comes when we each start this conversion of our machinery into something useful.
Paul, I introduced Adrian as a man who walks by his faith, his beliefs. How do you feel as someone who was in Iraq, now with the lovely Adrian here, who took down a spy base that could have affected your communications?
Hey, look, Christian people, I believe, are called to different duties, different roles in Christ on earth. I have no problem whatsoever with Christians being pacifists. I just happen to think that other Christians are called to take conflict on. And so a pacifistic agenda is something that the world also needs to hear, because it is part of the message. The reality is I don't see how they are actually entirely inseparable, because you cannot tell someone about peace and love and wonder and joy when they're locked up in prison and being shot at and they have no way of defending themselves, because it's meaningless to them. If you actually go and you stand in front of them and you stop somebody doing it, even if it requires you to go, stop, I will not let you kill them. Actually, what does it mean for them? So I'm thankful, actually, that you did what you did, for the image, for the symbol, the message. And actually, I think that message is important. It doesn't negate the fact that I think Christians should be a part of conflict.